That's your super heavy. It's super heavy. All right, hi everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. So we're just probably ahead of everyone's time. Is everybody on Zoom hear us? Good. Make sure everybody can hear it. So we'll get started. We're going to do what HR can do for you. And so we're going to be presenting with your CTSI HR team. We're going to put a little thingy. Sorry, I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay. Hey, I'm Jody Goodman. I'm the Assistant Director of Administrative Services. I've been with UF for about 4 years, started at CTSI back in December. Previously worked in the Dean's office and with IFAS. I oversee all of our HR strategies and initiatives, work with our employee relations, and then oversee our HR team. I've been married for almost 20 years this October, and I've got 3 teenagers. And if you ever want to talk Harry Potter, I'm your girl. Daniel, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Daniel. Hi, people on Zoom. I've been at UF for almost 3 years. November will be 3 years for me. I previously worked at Community Health and Family Medicine. And yeah, I like to just be the first person. Like, if you have a question, ask me. I might not always know the answer, but I'm going to find somebody who does. So always feel free to ask me any questions. I guess a little bit about me. I have a degree in horticulture from UF. I've never once worked a horticulture job. So that's fun. And I play volleyball in my free time, play D&D, and hang out with lots of friends. And yeah, I'm a pretty cool person to hang out with.
We're fun. And then our third person is Mariah Dearman. She's homesick today. So we hate that she was not able to be here today, but she just started with us and she's our generalist 1. And so we're training her on all of the things. She's been here for all of 3 weeks. And so she's new to UF and she's going to help with all of our basic HR functions. So just want you guys to know who your HR team is and what we're going to be working on. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. So human resources functions, how we can provide career growth, when you should contact human resources, benefits, training and professional development, and supporting the CTSI science workforce. And then we'll go for some questions at the end.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
So at the most basic level, HR is we're in charge of the life cycle of an employee, right? So we start with recruitment, move to hiring, onboarding, then we maintain your employee record while you're here, so payroll, leave, benefits, stuff like that. And then if you leave the university, you participate in offboarding and terminating job records. So we're very involved in that entire employee life cycle. Most of our job is very transactional. So we're submitting a lot of paperwork, doing a lot of things in the system that helps you just not have to worry about anything and you can do your job. And those things are very quantitative. We can measure the amount of people that we've hired, the amount of STIs we've done. We can see how much people are getting paid, how many times they've been promoted, things like that. But some of the less quantitative things that we want to be doing more of are things like training and development, employee satisfaction, how are you growing in your career, what kind of things can you be doing for training and certifications to help you move up in your career ladder, things like that. So yeah, these are just kind of some of the basic things that we do, but we can move that to the next. Oh, too far. There. Yeah. So, but one thing that we really want to help our employees do, help the CTSI do, is help you guys enjoy your jobs better. Help you guys think about your professional career development. And this kind of goes in a couple of different directions. So one, we want to help train and support our managers so that they're better equipped to help their employees, help their teams, their departments to be healthy and functional. Then we also want to help support the health and wellness of each of our employees. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. we have a few resources that we want to share with you guys. So in thinking about career development, there is this page, it's called the Teams Titles page that is available on the US HR website. It's super handy. Like I said, not very many people know about it, but within each of, like if you're in a Teams position, that all of us are, you will find your title. And for some of these examples, we'll just use my job title and kind of go through some of them. So like if you are an HR Gen 1, you click on it, it's going to go through and it's going to show you a summary of the position, some examples of the work, minimum requirements to be able to do the position. And then if you go down to the bottom of this page, and we'll send these out with links and everything. But these really helpful resources down here are like core competencies that are typically are involved in whatever the job duties are of this position. So some of these examples are like HR operations, effective communication, operational functions, collaborating. And if you click on each of those, it will take you to a new page where you can, I think it has like interview questions, it has some other resources of like, how can I grow in this core competency? So if I was like, okay, currently I'm an HR Gen 1, but I want to be an HR Gen 3, I could go to the Gen 3 position description and go to these competencies, and I can see, okay, what areas do I need to grow in? What are the typical job responsibilities of this title? So I know what I need to work on personally to advance my own career.
And I'm gonna interject because y'all are waiting for it. So education and experience, it will tell you what is required, but it's also going to look at your licensure and certification. So this is really important, especially in a lot of like our lab techs and our bio size. So you can come in here and you go to see what these education and experiences are. So if I am currently an HR specialist or an HR assistant, which are the lower level positions, I'm going to get to this generalist role. Now I can look to see what I need to have for minimum qualification and then working for educate or for like this licensure. So like for this, because it's HR, and that's what we live in, this HR SHRM certificate or PHR, it's Society of Human Resource Management, and I have my SHRM Senior Certified Professional. That's why I put the letters behind my name. It's the hardest test I've ever taken in my life, and I took the GRE. Like seriously, like when I hit submit, I cried, like it was that like thing. So like it has a 65% fail rate. So it means that I am a Senior Certified Professional in Human Resources. And so it's kind of a big deal when we take it. I'm going to make him take it. But that lets you know that those are things that when I'm looking for my career goals, or when I go to talk to my manager during my UF Engage, I now know this is where I want to go. And so I need to work with my manager to help me get to these next steps, because it's a two-way street. Manager can't drag you across the finish line, and you can't get there without your manager's support. So we want to make sure that our managers know, and so they can support the employees.
I have a question.
Of course.
My education experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now take for instance, you know, people who have been here on the job for like 30 years
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and they put out a bachelor's,
Mm-hmm.
and they find out that where they want to go requires a master's.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and there's not really the opportunity to go for a master's. But let's also take an example of somebody who was in IT. It used to be that IT required, you know, you have to have a bachelor's and that's it. And what I guess, you know, we're finding out is that it really is more your experience and your skills. That
Sure. So
what the necessary that piece of it.
So what you'll see right here, it says this says a bachelor's degree in an appropriate area of specialization or an equivalent combination of education and experience. So we call this an equivalency. This is not on every position. Generally, assistant director and above do not have the equivalency. They want you to have that master's or that bachelor's degree. So to usually be like, I think for my title, it's like a bachelor's in 4 years or a master's in 6. I'll have my master's come December. But like those are the things that like you look at, but that equivalency is usually like sometimes it's manager, it depends on the title. And these are important things that you should be looking at. For like if I'm looking at the UF job board and I want to apply for this position, I can now come to the team's titles page. I can see the competencies, I can see what it has. So I can go, look, I've got you may want a master's, everybody wants a master's. It's not always needed. I have 20 years of experience. That should speak for more than just my master's degree. So you can put that in your cover letter and explain that. Look, I got this, I have that, look at this experience. I'm meeting the minimum requirements and sell it from that angle.
Right. So my question was, who do you sell it to?
The hiring manager. That's why I want a cover letter. I read every single cover letter for every single position we get in. Your resume tells me what you've done. Your cover letter tells me how you're going to take what you've done in your resume and actually put it to my job. So your cover letter should be structured for the job that is posted. It should not be a standard cover letter. Like if you're just like, yeah. And so those are going to be questions that I'm going to ask during the interview.
Right. So my other question here too is that how do you get through the online application? Because sometimes it's a hard stop.
Sure.
And you don't even get to your hiring manager.
Then that's a bad hiring manager, because I'm telling my hiring managers you need to review every single applicant, and they have to tell me why we're passing on somebody.
We'll have time for some more questions at the end too. So we'll just go on to the next. I just wanted to show you an example. This career paths is also on the UFHR website. So if you're in research, if you're in finance, if you're in HR, whatever, you can click on it and it will show you. It might not be entirely up to date because I know this one isn't quite, but it will tell you kind of a list of, I guess, bar chart really of how positions in your field grow. So for example, I started with HR assistant, lowest one on the totem pole, right? So from HR assistant, I could have gone kind of anywhere in this grouping. Because of how my old department was, jumped out of the HR world and went to admin specialist for some random reason.
That's common.
Very, very complicated. And then when I came here, I came back over and I was a generalist 1, I'm a 2. So I'm kind of working up this route. I don't know that I want to go this direction entirely, but I'm here for now.
Come, we have
but it's like, hey, maybe I didn't know that I could even do, be a benefits specialist, but I found, I actually really enjoy benefits. What would it take for me to go over here? It's still in the same family tree, it just might be a few limbs over. So I could have a conversation with Joey and be like, what things would you recommend if I'm wanting to go more that direction? How do I study to get there? What kind of certification should I take? Yeah, it's really helpful because there are just certain things that there was a position a while ago that opened up. It looks like an HR data analyst position that's not even there anymore. But it was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. But that sounded really interesting to me. So it's like, oh, what do they do? If I wanted to do something like that in the future, what can I do now to get there?
Sure.
So yeah, you can find these for pretty much any of the, I guess, fields, groups,
I call them buckets.
buckets of positions. And again, we'll send these out with links in it later so you can find them. But I pretty much always just Google UFHR and what I'm looking for. And I just did that a little bit ago for this career path because I hadn't actually been to this stage. Some things are kind of hard to find, but yeah, we'll have it linked so that you can check them out. And I'm doing some feedback.
Okay, fun. So when to contact human resources. So if you or a coworker have experienced any harassment or discrimination, please call me immediately. That's what Daniel and I are here for. There's a lot of things that are unacceptable, and that's going to be one of the big ones. If you have questions about benefits, including health insurance or rights guaranteed by law, like FMLA, and with the Leave Act, personal, we have another medical or parental leave. When your personal circumstances change, like if you're going to be out for having a baby or adopting a baby, you need to reduce your hours. If you have any questions about advancing at the company, including opportunities, or when you just need to have a third party help you work through any work-related issues. So if you're having problems with a coworker or a supervisor or anything like that, that's definitely where we want to come in. Next section, we're going to talk about, did you know? Because there's a lot of things on the HR website at Main Campus HR. It's literally just ufhr.org. And it's not a great website. It is so much information. It is a lot. And I'm on it a lot. And I struggle with finding things. Like Daniel says, you just Google what it is.
And they're in the process of fixing it.
They are. I'm on a work group to do it. So this all, we're going to send the slide deck out and these links are active, but we just kind of want to share some stuff with you. So this first one is work life. And when you click on it, it's going to take you to the UFHR work life section of their website. And there they have all kinds of information about Gator perks, where you can get discounts. It has all the information about a bunch of all these other things that we listed here. Employee assistance program is really great. The UF employees at each member of your household can get 6 free counseling visits per person per event per calendar year. So that's really great to know. The work-life solutions can help you with finding out childcare or elder care. They can help you hire movers. You also get legal guidance. You get a free 30-minute consultation and a 25% reduction in fees. They can help you with divorce, adoption, family law, wills, trust, all of these things. So if you don't know these are options, I'm just trying to help everybody just know what's out there. So the higher education opportunity, I'm really excited about this one because my daughter just got this. This is really great. So her next 4 years of college are paid for. Thank you, University of Florida. So it's an opportunity funded for teams employees, where if you're employed in good standing for at least 6 months, you get tuition assistance for up to 6 credit hours, or sorry, that's for the employee assistance. Employee education program, they will pay for you to go to school for 6 credit hours. Higher education opportunity, your kids get to go to school and they'll pay for them to their whole time at UF. If they don't get into UF, they go to any state college. So EEP, 6 hours a semester, and the HEO will provide full tuition assistance, not books or housing, but just tuition, which again, they give it to 150 kids a year. They've never had 150 kids apply. Yes.
So that is like a lottery, or?
It is, it's a lottery. So they call it a lottery because they only give it to 150 kids, 119 applied this year.
Caution with that one with the HEO, because my daughter did as well. They will start paying after they take out the Bright Futures.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah, it's less Bright Futures unless the BFR prepaid.
In the end, it actually just added more paperwork.
Sure, because if you have Bright Futures at 100%, that doesn't run out as helpful, but my daughter doesn't have that, so yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
There's that.
Yes, so we just want to make sure that people know about it. But my husband and I both work for UF, so we both got entered into it. So she's doubly covered. But again, if you don't know it and you don't have Bright Futures, or maybe you only got 75% of Bright Futures, or you want to use your Florida prepaid, you can use that for housing and then have the HEO cover it. They go through a very in-depth PowerPoint. I'm sure you remember it. It does. It absolutely does. And that was a big one with the PowerPoint that it works for you. Right. And there's lots of questions. But my daughter's going to Santa Fe and she'll get her AA and then she'll be able to transfer over and it'll still transfer over. And so like it's a lot. But again, if you don't know what's there, you don't know to apply for it. My favorite thing is training and professional development. I mentioned earlier, I'm getting my master's degree in leadership and human resources development, and I'm focusing on training and development. So I think that is where we can make the biggest impact. This is something that I have a passion for and would love to be able to get, like Dana was saying, all of our functions are important. We want to get you hired and paid, but these are the things we're really passionate about, and we want to make sure that our people feel that they are being supported. So Maine UF HR website has a bunch of training buckets and certificates you can get. So how many of you are familiar with the Pro 3 series? Cool. How many of us have our Pro 3 series? Cool. So the Pro 3 series is workshops and information sessions that are designed to help those in administrative positions, pretty much a bunch of us in this room, to learn key information and develop the key skills they need to be successful. So you can get 3 certifications that are in like fiscal management, HR and payroll, or academic department support. So the HR one, we had to take a bunch of, some are online classes, some are in-person classes, and then you get a certificate. And it was really helpful, some of the information, like we had to go through like, how we hire for national, how we hire faculty. And there was a bunch of just like actual, just basic professional development, communication styles, some of the other,
How to write an effective email. Stuff like that.
Yes. So for the supervisory challenge is designed for leaders with to have knowledge and skills about behaviors necessary to be an effective manager. Thrive at UF is a broad range of workshops designed for all UF employees. GBAS stands for Gator Business Administrator Services, and it's a vision to create a network of high-performing professionals committed to working collaboratively to support the university. Very fancy. They do some really nice workshops. Sometimes we're in person, sometimes we're on Zoom, sometimes we're hybrids. The last one they did was, you went to that one.
I did. It was so good.
What's the title? But they'll have some really good ideas and stuff like that. And then there's actually our leadership academies. So for like the managers cohort, which Joanna was just a part of last year. So she got to go through all the management stuff and she graduated from that. They have the advanced leadership academy. There's like a UF mentorship. So there's actually some of that. And then yeah, so it's, the UF Academy, which is for like the leaders, and the A-Lab is like for associate directors and higher director level positions. They get to meet once a month, like a year at the president's house. They get really good food. My husband just did it. It was annoying. Like every time he would come back, it's really good food. But you get to meet with like a bunch of stuff, like, you know, the CFO came and talked to them, and you got to meet with Dave Nelson came and talked to them. So like a bunch of the big names on campus come and talk to them in these leadership environments. So it was really great. But something that not everybody's always aware of is that our HR team, we're here to help you. If you want to help, like if you're looking to advance your career and you want help with your resume, you want help with your LinkedIn profile, hit me up. I would love to help you with that. I've been an advisor for my sorority here on campus, and I do a presentation for them every year about resumes. I look at them daily. I can tell you what we're looking for and what is going to be viewed on to help you get to the next level of your career. If you're not using LinkedIn, you should be, because I'm looking at it when I'm looking at my recruitments. It does. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and I know it's, again, we're throwing this out at you. These are all linked, so when we send out the slide deck, you'll be able to look at them. And when you have questions, come and talk to me, because there's a lot. You're gonna be like, Joey, this Pro-P series is like 6 classes and they're 4 hours each, and they give them like once a, I'm not asking you to get this done in 20 minutes. It's going to take you some time, but you can get started on these classes. So where do we go from here? Well, we want to support the clinical and translational science workforce. That's where I'm getting excited about, because I don't know if y'all had a conversation with Mindy Dunn and what she wants to do with this place. But you talk to her and she makes me want to be a clinical research nurse. I don't want to be a clinical research nurse, but she makes me want to be a clinical research nurse because she believes in our mission. And I'm excited to be a part of that and where CTSI is going. Again, important we get you hired and paid. Absolutely. But there's other things we want to work on. So the big thing that we've been focusing on since I got here has been creating a culture of collaboration and connectivity. And I hope we've seen some improvements in that. I feel like we've made some really positive strides, and I'm excited to see where we can go. Hopefully we'll have new directors in soon, and they will be leading that charge. But I think we're really a really great foundation for them to come into. Focus on recruitment, retention, and professional development. It's great that we need to get new people in. I'm more worried about sitting in this room and on Zoom and making sure that I retain our great employees, because it costs more to recruit new employees than it does to retain. So what can we do to make sure that you are getting what you need to feel that you are supported at all levels? And that goes back to that wellness and being. That's part of this series. It's just being able to provide you guys with information, because the more you know, the more you grow. And I know it's cliche, but honestly, that's what it's about. The things you don't know could be hindering your career. So how can we help you? I would love for you to stay and grow in CTSI. But if my goal was to be the Associate Director of Communications, she's got to go somewhere, because that's her job. So I can get her promoted.
I'm sure I feel good about it. You're talking about me.
But if that is my goal, will I be able to do that in CTSI? I don't know, but growth outside of CTSI is not a bad thing for us. Would we hate to lose you? Of course. But now you go forth and you know about CTSI, and you go to your new position, and we have an ally in another division that is growth for CTSI. It's all about establishing, building, and maintaining relationships. Goes back to our culture and building that collaboration and connectivity. I just want us to have that. Our hands are in all the buckets. Y'all know we are dealing with everybody across campus. We need to make sure that we are keeping those relationships externally as well as internally. I'm not dealing with the auxiliary billing team, but we have relationships. We need to make sure that, pilots, I'm not dealing with, but we build relationships, we maintain relationships. And so that's what we want to focus on. And then something that is near and dear to my heart is onboarding. I am, for the College of Medicine, I've been on an onboarding project for new faculty members for going on 2 years now. We're building it for faculty. We will eventually get it for teams. But I'm the project champion for it for the Dean's Strategic Initiative. So when I tell you about onboarding, I work on it daily for the college. And it's something that Daniel and I are working on for our department, making some strides. We've already built some stuff. This is part of it. This will be part of our, we're recording this for a reason. We will share it with our new hires so they're able to get out some information. But we want everyone to feel welcome here. We spent time to recruit them. We know we need them. We now want to retain them. Research shows that individuals make their decision if they're going to stay in a position within the first 30 days of being here. I want them to have a really great first 30 days, but continue that on and want them to stay. Questions, comments, thoughts? Share with the group. I know y'all too well to know we don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I think if I can just add, obviously there's a lot of things that we covered and that we can do, and we really just wanted to highlight some of those things and continue to give our resources, which are you lovely humans, resources to be able to do your jobs well and be healthy in the workplace and stuff like that. So like we'll send this out, and like I said, anytime you have literally any question, even if it has nothing to do with my job or
75% of the questions we get don't have anything to do with us, but we're a great place for you to start. Seriously, we will figure it out. But we want HR to be seen as an asset and not be seen as adversarial. I don't want when I walk into a room when people are like, who's getting fired? I don't like that. I'm not here to do that. That's not what I'm about. I'm here for be collaborative, for us to make relationships, for us to be positive. I hope you guys have learned that since I got here. But that was my first 3-4 months here. It's like walking in a room and people are like, why are you here? I'm not here to hire you in 4 months. That would be done privately. But just, you know, make sure everybody just understands that, like I said, we want to be an asset and it's how we can help out. So, thanks for coming. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Enjoy the rest of your lunch break.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Johnny, for coming. Bye.
You're welcome.
Hey, thanks, bye.